Well, how about that? 600 subscribers. It's really quite amazing how my channel has taken off in 2012. At the start of the year, I think I had about 350 subscribers, and about 50 of those were inactive accounts that YouTube has since deleted. So basically, my subscriber number has doubled this year. So if you subbed to me this year, thank you. And if you already subbed to me at the start of this year and are still subbed now, an even bigger thank you. To celebrate, I'm going to take you guys through the process of making a review video, since those seem to be the most popular thing I do on here. And along the way, I'll try to give you a few tips if you're thinking about doing anything like this yourself. The first thing to start off with is choosing what to review. Generally, I decide to review something a long time before I actually review it. If I find that I just naturally have a lot to say about it, I'll add it to a little to-do list I have on my hard drive. When it comes to actually wanting to do a review, I'll consult this list and just pick something out. There isn't much logic to the order I review things. I just try to alternate between movies and TV, but other than that, it's just whatever I feel like reviewing at the time. Once I know what I'm reviewing, I have to re-watch it in order to refresh my memory of it. I cannot stress enough the importance of doing this. If you don't have the thing you're reviewing fresh in your mind, you are going to find it a lot more difficult to pinpoint everything that happens. You might even find that you get details about the plot wrong because you're misremembering it. I would also recommend rewatching it multiple times. Once where you just watch it, and then one or two more times where you take notes. Of course, with a 2-hour film, it may be hard to find the time to watch it more than once. So with films, I tend to just only watch it once, and at a fairly slow pace, making notes along the way. Once I have a few notes written out, I begin the longest and also the most tedious part of the process, writing the script. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, script writing is boring and tedious work. But that's only because it's by far the most important part. It doesn't matter how good you are with special effects or video editing, if you don't have a good script, people are not going to be interested. You really need to take your time. Often I can sit there for hours thinking about just one line and whether or not it should be in there. Other times I'll write about 10 lines no trouble because it just comes naturally to me. I actually find that most of my writing is done in my head when I'm away doing other things. The job I have is very repetitive, so I do a lot of it on autopilot, and I have a lot of time to just think to myself about what I'm going to say in a review, so I just keep it stored away in my head until I get home. This is also the time when I get a basic idea of how long the video is going to be. Generally I find that one page of text in size 10 font corresponds to about 5 minutes of video. I always look to make my reviews between 5 and 10 minutes. Less than 5, I've not really given you guys enough to think about. Much more than 10, I've overstayed my welcome. So I'm always looking to write a script that is at least a page long. I've never been very good at reviewing stuff in order, and I never see the point of having much of a plot summary either. It just wastes time you could spend on reviewing. And honestly, if you've not seen the thing being reviewed yet, why are you watching a review of it? So there's not much structure or order to what I have to say, but I do at least try to give an overall conclusion at the end. Once I'm sure I've said everything I can, I proofread the whole thing. This is another part that's pretty tedious, and for a long time I didn't bother with it. I figured, no one else is going to see this script in text form. What does it matter if there are grammatical or spelling errors in it? But I quickly found that reading something out loud with grammar and spelling errors in it is not an easy thing to do. I found I had to keep stopping midway through recording to fix things, so now I just do it before I start recording. It also gives me a chance to practice reading it out loud. Next comes the actual recording. For this I use a pretty basic stand mic and a pop filter. But in the past I've used some really cheap stuff, like a headset and even the mic built into my laptop. Looking back through some of my older videos, I honestly can't believe I thought that any of this was good enough. The number of times they pick up my breath and the background noise, it's almost unlistenable. As soon as I became a partner, I figured, if I'm now making money from this, it seems only fair that some of that money should go back into making better videos. I always record all of the audio at once, as it's the part I enjoy doing the least and I want to get it over with. I always wait till the house is empty before I start recording audio. I don't want anyone making noise outside my room or coming in and disturbing me while I'm in mid-flow. I also recommend that you have a glass of water at your side the whole time, as talking for much more than 5 minutes non-stop can really dry out your mouth. One thing about this I'm still trying to master is the position to sit in to get the best voice. Should I lean close to the mic? Should I sit upright? Or should I actually do it standing up? I don't know, you be the judge. I always like doing at least 2 good takes of each line, and normally 3. I'll settle for 2 if it's a particularly tough line. One good thing about audio is that it's very easy to hide cuts, so often I will start reading mid-sentence, or just use the first part of one take of a sentence and the second part of another, if it just turns out they are the best bits, which leads me nicely into the next part. The editing. Both the editing programs I've used have had audio recording devices built into them, so it's pretty easy for me to get the audio set up for editing. Now, when it comes to editing a video, I can't stress enough the importance of saving regularly. I can't tell you how many times I've lost like an hour's work when my computer has crashed or I've been forced to restart the system, simply because I didn't think to save it. Always save as soon as you have anything to save, and after that, just keep clicking save every like 5 or 10 minutes. It takes like a second to do, and there will be times when you'll be glad you did it. I always edit all of the audio first before doing anything else. I'm not sure why, it's just the way I've always done it. I guess I'd just like to be able to say to myself, right, the audio is done, I don't have to worry about that anymore. This part is fairly straightforward. It's just a matter of finding the best take, or the best parts of takes in some cases, and cutting out everything else. The only tricky part is making sure it all flows nicely and sounds like one uncut bit of audio, making sure there aren't any parts where I pause for too long, or the more common problem, I cut to the next part too quickly. There should always be a half-second pause between every sentence. Otherwise, it just doesn't sound natural. When it comes to images, I actually don't use Google Image as much as you might think. Most of the stills you see are print screens I've taken myself when playing whatever it is I'm reviewing on my computer. Then I just crop out everything else in Paint. Now, another important thing to remember here is, when finding images for a video, put them all into one file for just that video. That way, when it comes to importing them all into the editing program, they will be easy to find and you can do them all at once. I don't use video as much as I used to, partly because it slows the whole process down. They take longer to download or capture, and because everything else on my computer slows down. Also, and this is just personal preference, but I just find it a little off-putting if people are talking over a video clip that doesn't relate directly to what they are talking about. I'm looking at you, confused Matthew. Of course, this does mean more work finding images. See, with a video clip you can just let it play for a bit, but it never looks good if you have the same image on screen for more than a few seconds, or if you use the same image more than once. So I will normally end up using close to 100 different images in one video. Once I've added all the images in, I proof watch to make sure that there are no parts where the screen goes blank and no repeated lines. If there is a repeated line, it can be really annoying because I have to delete the extra line, which leaves a massive void, so I have to take every single individual audio clip that comes after it and move them all back to fill the gap. Thankfully, there aren't normally any problems. And after that, all that remains is to process it and upload it to YouTube. The editing program I have has a nice feature that enables me to upload it to YouTube through the editing program. The only slight issue with this is that it bypasses putting a copy of the video onto my hard drive. So if the upload part goes wrong, or I find that there's something wrong with the video after I've uploaded it, I have to process the video all over again, and some of them take the best part of 2 hours, so it's not something I want to do again. The uploading part is normally fairly quick though. I've only had this problem a couple of times. I've also found that it has a glitch where it mutes the sound sometimes, so now I always set the video to private initially to make sure it's okay, and also so that I can add in any annotations should the video require some. Once that's done, I set it to public and leave it up to you guys to either like or dislike it. I hope you guys found this video informative, and good luck if you are planning on making reviews in the future. See you soon.